It began as the fulfillment of a dream. Approximately 7 years after the passage of the Community Mental Health Centers Act, the North River Mental Health Center opened its doors to the citizens of Chicago. Hello, my name is Bob Koptic, and I'm a client at the North River Mental Health Center. I have been privileged to see the wonders the center can work for myself and others. North River Mental Health Center fulfilled a need to provide free mental health care services to the mentally ill in its area. The center's philosophy was to provide services that would keep people out of mental institutions and prevent them from experiencing mental health crises.
Now, however, communities throughout Chicago are facing a crisis in mental care services. For 17 years, the city has diminished its funding of what was once a very fine mental health system, which consisted of 19 mental health centers and an alcoholic treatment center. In reaction to this, a group of therapists, consumers, and concerned citizens decided to form a nonprofit group called the Chicago Coalition to Save Our Mental Health Centers. My name is Diane Plotkin. I'm a retired social worker. I worked at the North River Mental Health Center for almost 25 years, and I personally witnessed the destruction that was wrought upon the center due to the lack of funding. The North River area includes many neighborhoods such as Irving Park, Albany Park, Mayfair, Sauganash, Peterson Park, and Hollywood Park. The residents I once served at North River Mental Health Center represented a diverse community of economic and cultural groups. They included children with emotional and/or behavioral problems, adults facing life crises, seniors meeting late life depression, as well as people of all ages who had a serious mental illness such as major depression, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder. They were seen for short-term crisis intervention or long-term mental health care and support as needed. Let me tell you about some of the special services I and my co-workers provided. We were able to go to schools, to advocate for special needs children, and consult with teachers. We provided support groups for children of divorced families, women in abusive marriages, and depressed seniors. We were able to provide extensive help to survivors of post-traumatic stress disorder. When called by a loved one, we could go to the home to certify people for hospitalization if they were a danger to themselves or others. We also went to seniors when they could not come to us due to a physical disability. These services and others no longer exist due to the lack of funding. North River once had 14 professional therapists. Now there are only 5. The only service that North River provides is to the seriously mentally ill, and even these services have been whittled away. Clients are seen mostly in groups, with drastically reduced time for individual consultation and evaluation by psychiatrists. In 1963, under the leadership of John F. Kennedy, the U.S. Congress passed the Community Mental Health Centers Act. Medication had been developed that allowed people with serious mental illness to leave mental institutions and to live in their own community where they could receive help with their illness at their local mental health center. These centers also provided preventive services. It is important to note that this bill was designed so that communities could participate in decisions about their own mental health needs, instead of having them solely defined by professionals. North River Mental Health Center was developed under this bill. The center was once housed in a building that provided spacious offices as well as larger rooms to accommodate group meetings. It is now empty. North River was moved to cramped quarters in a small part of an administration building on the same grounds. The new quarters are entirely inadequate. The rooms are so small that they are not large enough to hold group meetings. There is no privacy because the walls separating the so-called offices are only dividers that do not go up to the ceiling. Unfortunately, the North River Mental Health Center is able to offer only 1/8 of the services it formerly provided.
I have been a client at North River for roughly 6 years. For almost 20 years prior to this time, I received ongoing care for psychiatric problems. I have been hospitalized more times than I can remember. I have been given multiple diagnoses. I have been seen by dozens of different doctors, psychologists, and therapists. I have also attended numerous aftercare programs. Through my many observations, I have seen little in the way of empowering health care. North River changed my world. North River's approach to therapy is much more personalized than others. They don't just work to relieve a condition, they treat people as a whole human being. Rather than focus on the illness, the objective for the client is to work on building more effective living and coping skills, to use their abilities in the creation of a better, more efficient and fulfilling life. The client's time is enriched as they are given the tools to realize the potential for good. Each individual is given the power to work toward their own recovery. The caring professionals at North River have opened many doors for me, allowing me to use my talents in the service of others. North River is, after all, a true community of people. Clinicians, as well as consumers, are working together toward the greatest possible benefit for the individual and the group. It was in the forging of relationships, the bonds I built with others like me, that I found the momentum to establish a path to recovery. I have not seen another program come close in comparison.